Once upon a time, there was a rich man whose dear wife became very ill. When she felt her strength fading, she called her daughter to her bedside and said gently, "My sweet child, stay kind and good, and God will always help you. I'll always be close to you in your heart." Then she closed her eyes and fell into a gentle, enchanted sleep. The girl missed her terribly and visited the quiet place where her mother rested every day, and she stayed kind and good, just as her mother had wished. When winter came, the snow covered that special place like a soft white blanket. When spring arrived, her father married again. The new wife brought 2 daughters with her. Though they seemed lovely on the outside, they were unkind on the inside. Difficult days began for the poor stepchild. "She doesn't belong with us in the parlor," they said. They took away her pretty clothes, giving her an old gray smock and wooden shoes. "Look at the proud little princess in rags," they laughed, guiding her roughly to the kitchen. From morning till night she worked, rising early, carrying water, lighting fires, cooking, and washing. The stepsisters made her life hard, teasing her and spilling peas and lentils into the ashes for her to pick out. At night, when she was tired, she had no bed and curled up on the warm hearth by the fire. Because she was often covered in dust and soot, they called her Cinderella. One day, the father planned a trip to the market fair. He asked his stepdaughters what gifts they wanted. "Beautiful dresses," said one. "Pearls and jewels," said the other. "And you, Cinderella?" he asked kindly. "Dear father," she said softly, "please bring me the first twig that brushes your hat on your way home." He bought fancy gifts for the stepsisters, and on his way home, a hazel twig brushed his hat. He took it and gave it to Cinderella. She thanked him warmly, took it to her mother's resting place, and planted it there. Soon it grew into a lovely tree. Each day, Cinderella visited the tree 3 times, and each time a little white bird landed on the branches, tossing down whatever Cinderella had wished for. One day, the king announced a wonderful festival at his castle. It would last 3 days, and every young girl was invited, so his son could choose a bride. When the 2 stepsisters heard they could go, they were excited and called, "Cinderella, help us get ready, brush our shoes, and fix our hair." Cinderella did as she was asked, but she felt sad, dreaming of going to the festival too. With tears, she asked her stepmother if she might go. "You, Cinderella," the woman laughed unkindly, "you're covered in dust. You have no pretty dress or shoes. You can't possibly dance." But Cinderella begged again. Finally, the stepmother said, "Fine, I've poured lentils into the ashes. If you can sort them out in 2 hours, you may come." The girl ran into the garden and called gently, "Sweet doves, dear turtle doves, all birds beneath the sky, please come and help me sort the good ones in the pot. The rest leave where they lie." 2 white doves fluttered through the kitchen window, followed by many other birds. They pecked softly, sorting the lentils quickly. In less than an hour, they finished and flew away. Cinderella brought the bowl to her stepmother with hope in her eyes, but the stepmother frowned. "No, Cinderella, you have no proper dress. You wouldn't fit in." When Cinderella began to cry again, the stepmother said, "Fine, if you can sort 2 bowls of lentils from the ashes in just 1 hour, you may come." But secretly, she thought this was impossible. Cinderella ran to the garden and called out again to the birds. Just like before, they flew in and sorted every lentil in less than half an hour. But when she brought the bowls to her stepmother, the woman shook her head coldly. "It's no use. You can't come. We'd be embarrassed." Then she left with her 2 proud daughters, leaving Cinderella alone. When the house was empty, Cinderella ran to her mother's resting place beneath the hazel tree and softly whispered, "Shake and rustle, little tree. Send your lovely gifts to me." Instantly, the little white bird tossed down a beautiful gown shimmering with gold and silver, along with slippers stitched gently with silk. Cinderella put on her sparkling dress and hurried to the royal ball. At the palace, her stepsisters and stepmother didn't recognize her. She looked so radiant, they believed she was a princess from a distant land. The prince noticed her immediately, walked straight toward her, and asked her to dance. He danced only with her, politely telling others, "She is my partner tonight." They twirled joyfully until evening came, when Cinderella slipped away quietly. The prince followed, hoping to see where she lived, but she quickly darted ahead and hid in the cozy little garden shed. The next day, the festival continued. As soon as her family was gone, Cinderella ran to the tree and received an even more beautiful gown. When she entered the ball, everyone gazed in wonder. The prince, who had eagerly awaited her, danced only with Cinderella. As the sun began to set, she quietly left again, this time climbing gracefully into a tall pear tree to hide. On the 3rd day, the bird sent down the most dazzling gown yet, sparkling like sunlight, with slippers made entirely of shimmering gold. At the ball, the prince once again danced only with her. When evening came, Cinderella hurried away. The prince tried to follow, but as she ran down the stairs, one golden slipper gently slipped off and stuck to the step. The prince picked it up carefully. The next morning, he visited Cinderella's home and announced gently but firmly, "Only the girl whose foot fits this golden slipper shall become my bride." The eldest stepsister tried first, but her big toe wouldn't fit. Her mother whispered quickly, "Just squeeze it in. Once you're queen, you won't need to walk much anyway." The girl forced her foot painfully into the slipper and went to the prince. But as they rode away, 2 white doves on the hazel tree called out, "Coo, cuckoo!" "That shoe's not true. The fit's too tight. The bride's not right." The prince saw her discomfort and brought her back. The younger sister tried next, but her heel was too large. She forced it in and tried to smile bravely. But again, the doves called out the truth. The prince brought her back home. "This one isn't right either," he said gently. "Do you have another daughter?" "No," said the father, hesitating. "Well, only Cinderella, my first wife's daughter." "But she couldn't possibly be the bride," the prince gently insisted. Cinderella was called. She quickly washed her face and hands and stepped shyly into the room. The prince smiled warmly and handed her the golden slipper. She sat on a little stool, took off her wooden clog, and slipped her foot perfectly into the golden shoe. When she stood up, the prince saw her gentle eyes and recognized immediately that she was the lovely girl who had danced with him. Joyfully, he declared, "This is my true bride." The stepmother and stepsisters stared in disbelief. The prince kindly helped Cinderella onto his horse, and they rode away. As they passed beneath the hazel tree, the 2 white doves sang sweetly, "Choo, coo!" "The shoe, it's true. The bride is right. He found her tonight." Then the gentle doves fluttered softly onto Cinderella's shoulders and stayed with her. At the royal wedding, the stepsisters came quietly. Cinderella kindly welcomed them, forgiving their past cruelty. Seeing her gentle heart, the stepsisters felt ashamed and deeply sorry. From that day on, they changed, learning to be kinder. And so Cinderella lived happily ever after with the prince, because she remained kind, patient, and true to her heart. This story reminds us that being gentle and honest, even when life feels unfair, can lead to wonderful surprises.
Stories. If you had fun with us today, please show your support and subscribe so we can bring you many more tales to come. See you in the next story.